Okay. So we're live, and just want to welcome all the guys that are live, and a big shout out. This last week, Belinda had a back operation. Those of you say, "Go Belinda!" Right, we love you, darling. We hope you're watching us live. If you're not, you should be. And if you, I hope you're recovering well, darling. We're going to all come in and see you tomorrow morning. All of us coming in to the hospital tomorrow. All right. So we're going to go live tonight, and it's going to be great. This is the new series, So You Think You Can, and we're going to unpack this over the next kind of 5 or 6 weeks, what that means. And tonight, I've got a little video I want to show you, right, about what it means. It's the whole idea of this series is so you think you can man, so you think you can woman. And we're going to actually unpack what it means to be a male, man, women. I know you think that it's one thing, but it's more than that. And guys, I know you think it's 2 things, but it's more than that. All right, so tonight I want to show you a video about what modern man looks like. Are we good to go?
Yep.
Oh, you want me to do that? Someone do the lights would be awesome. I'm going to show you the light switches out the front.
Is it ready?
Can't see.
No.
It'll think in a second.
There we go. Volume.
Hey. Thank you very much. Thank you. I'm a modern man for the millennium. Digital and smoke-free. A diversified, multicultural, postmodern deconstructionist, politically, anatomically, and ecologically incorrect. I've been uplinked and downloaded, I've been inputted and outsourced. I know the upside of downsizing, I know the downside of upgrading. I'm a high-tech lowlife, a cutting-edge, state-of-the-art, bi-coastal multitasker, and I can give you a gigabyte in a nanosecond. I'm new wave, but I'm old school, and my inner child is outward bound. I'm a hot-wired, heat-seeking, warm-hearted, cool customer, voice-activated and biodegradable. I interface with my database is in cyberspace, so I'm interactive, I'm hyperactive, and from time to time I'm radioactive. Behind the 8 ball, ahead of the curve, riding the wave, dodging the bullet, pushing the envelope. I'm on point, on task, on message, and off drugs. I got no need for coke and speed. I got no urge to binge and purge. I'm in the moment, on the edge, over the top, but under the radar. A high-concept, low-profile, medium-range ballistic missionary. A streetwise smart bomb. A Top Gun bottom feeder. I wear power ties, I tell power lies, I take power naps, I run victory laps. I'm a totally ongoing Bigfoot slam dunk rainmaker with a proactive outreach. A raging workaholic. A working rageaholic. Out of rehab and in denial. I got a personal trainer, a personal shopper, a personal assistant, and a personal agenda. You can't shut me up, you can't dumb me down, because I'm tireless and I'm wireless. I'm an alpha male on beta blockers. I'm a non-believer and an overachiever, laid back but fashion forward, upfront, down home, low rent, high maintenance, supersized, long-lasting, high-definition, fast-acting, oven-ready, and built to last. I'm a hands-on, foot-loose, knee-jerk head case, prematurely post-traumatic, and I have a love child who sends me hate mail. But I'm feeling, I'm caring, I'm healing, I'm sharing. A supportive, bonding, nurturing primary caregiver. My output is down, but my income is up. I take a short position on the long bond, and my revenue stream has its own cash flow. I read junk mail, I eat junk food, I buy junk bonds, I watch trash sports. I'm gender-specific, capital-intensive, user-friendly, and lactose-intolerant. I like rough sex. I like tough love. I use the F word in my email, and the software on my hard drive is hardcore, no soft porn. I bought a microwave at a mini mall. I bought a minivan at a mega store. I eat fast food in the slow lane. I'm toll-free, bite-sized, ready to wear, and I come in all sizes. A fully equipped, factory-authorized, hospital-tested, clinically proven, scientifically formulated medical miracle. I've been pre-washed, pre-cooked, preheated, pre-screened, pre-approved, pre-packaged, post-dated, freeze-dried, double-wrapped, vacuum-packed, and I have an unlimited broadband capacity. I'm a rude dude, but I'm the real deal. Lean and mean, cocked, locked, and ready to rock. Rough, tough, and hard to bluff. I take it slow, I go with the flow, I ride with the tide, I get gliding in my stride. Driving and moving, sailing and spinning, jiving and grooving, wailing and winning. I don't snooze, so I don't lose. I keep the pedal to the metal and the rubber on the road. I party hardy, and lunchtime is crunch time. I'm hanging in, there ain't no doubt, and I'm hanging tough, over and out.
So did you get it?
No.
I got a little bit.
I got the bit of
It's any wonder
and the left.
we're confused. All right? That was a little statement by an old guy talking about modern man. You know, what does it mean to be a modern man? And there is some confusion around that. And over the next few weeks, we want to hope to explain what it means to be a male in our world. Now, those of you who was with us when we did Bus Stop to Bedroom, we did that whole series around that. Cool. Well, we're only going to do maybe half a night on that, but we've got a bunch of stuff that we're going to talk to you over the next sort of few weeks about. How do I stop all of that being inside of here? You know, how do you stop all of those pressures, all of those things being inside our mind and inside our heart and confusing us? And so George did it great. I thought for an old guy running it that fast, he should be a rapper, you know, and he did a great job. So if you don't know who the guy, do you know who the guy is? Have you ever seen him before? Yeah. George Carlin is his name, and he's quite terrific. He's got a whole bunch of videos up there on YouTube you can have a look at, and he's very controversial. But what I want to talk to you about is, first of all, tonight is about transitions. Do you know what a transition is? Anyone? Take a guess. Go, Jack.
When you're skateboarding, it's like the...
It's like the what? Because there is a skateboarding term, transition, yeah?
the vert ramp.
Yeah?
It's a transition.
Yeah, transition is going from one state, so you might be at the top of the vert, dropping in. That's the transition, the point from there to there. Yeah, go at the back, Hop.
Like transition from boy to man.
A boy to a man. Nice. That's appropriate for what we're talking about tonight. You know, yeah, it's good. So transition is moving from one place to the next. Now, I don't know if you know this or anyone has explained this to you, but in our journey as people, as humans, there is actually a transition process that takes place at a certain age. And I'm not just talking about puberty, because that happens at different times for different people. I'm talking about there's about 3 years, and there's about 4 blocks of those 3 years that happen in our journey. Does anybody want to take a guess when the first transition happens? Go.
When you're born.
Well, that's pretty true. You're transitioning from a bubbly, warm state into a very nasty environment. You get slapped around and washed down and all kinds of stuff going on there. So that is a transition. I'm talking about from teenager to young person, to sort of a youth, what we call a youth, right? That's sort of age between 13 and 16. How many of you fit in that block right there? 13 to 16. Wave at me. Yep. Sweet. So I'm going to tell you, one of the biggest transitions you face is that you are well practiced at being a kid, aren't you? Mm-hmm. So between sort of 0 and 12, you know how to be a kid. You know how to be a child. So you know that what it takes to be that. Now, when you turn 13, that's when, first of all, you become a teenager, and you may not know what's expected of you. For some parents, you walk into your room a child and you come out some kind of demon at that point. Is that true? Some of your parents said that to you. I don't know who you are, girlfriend. Do some of your parents say that? Some of you not want to know your mum and dad at that point. So at 13, that's what happens. Now, the difficulty is, between 13 and 16, you're trying to figure out what it means to be a teenager. Why are you trying to figure that out? Cricket. Good. I'm glad you asked. So I'm going to tell you why. Right? You don't know what it is to be a teenager because you haven't been one before. So all of your mates come into this moment of 13 to 16 and they try and give you advice, but they've never been there before. They've never been there before, but somehow they know. I had a mate that gave me advice. When I went to high school, I was in Form 1, Year 7, and I had a mate, his name was John. I won't use his last name because we've gone live and he might be online. So his name was John. And he said to me, in order to get approval in my high school, because I was a new kid, right? I was Year 7, in order to gain approval, the best thing for me to do is let the Form 6, Year 12s beat the crap out of me. That was his advice. And I said, seriously? That's dumb advice. I'm not letting it. He goes, the next thing you could do is let them put you in a rubbish bin and roll you down the hill at the high school. Now, in the day, there wasn't a wheelie bin, right? It was a steel bin. You ever seen Sesame Street? And you seen that guy, the green guy that comes out? Hey? Oscar? Yeah, good. Yeah. I had a deformed childhood. So the reality was, I was like Oscar, right? There was this tin that they used to have in schools, right? This rubbish tin. It was a little tin like that. But they used to have this funny thing on the steel lid. Those of us who are a bit older realised that if you put the lid on and just clicked it, it locked. It was cool. The reason they did that is because if you knocked it over, if the crows got to it, they couldn't get the lid off. See, crows are pretty smart. They can open up those wheelie bins and just help themselves a bit of lunch. But the reality was, he says, I know what you'll do. One lunchtime, Phil, you go down where the year 12s hang out, and you just let them bin you. So this sounded good, because I was 13 and I wanted to fit in. So I went down and I said, right, and the problem was, I didn't develop early, so that was bad. So I was a late bloomer, and also him and John and I were two of the smallest kids in year 7. So I was like, yeah, you can put me in the bin, And so they went, all right, that's what they did at lunchtime to us, year 7s. So they put you in the bin, locked the lid down, and then there was this almighty hill. Have you ever seen a school bank, on the oval and it has a big bank? They take the highest point on the bank and then they just throw you off, roll you. It was so much fun. I got to the end and just fell out, and it was just so great. I felt so overwhelmed. It was some of the dumbest advice I could have ever done, could have ever said. One of the things happened is I was rolling down the hill, is I sliced my knee open inside the bin somehow. Still bear the scar today. The scar was this long, took 14 stitches to put my knee back together, and I rolled out, and you know what I did? I should be right. It was so much fun. And I walked off. And I wanted to beat the crap out of my mate right at that point for his bad advice. So that's the challenge when we're 13, is between 13 and 16 we can kind of think that some of the advice that we're getting at that point is the smartest advice. But the problem is your mates haven't been there before. Other people have. So you don't know what it's like. And then there's this next transition. This is good for you to know because you're trying to figure out who you are between 13 and 16. Then you go from 16 to 19. Now it's 16. How many of you are 16 in the room, right? Yeah. You know some stuff, right? Not so confident at the front of the room. Every 16-year-old that I know knows some stuff. Do you know why they reduced the learner's permit from 17 to 16? Hey? Actually, 16-year-olds are actually more willing to listen to you than 17-year-olds. They're more willing to listen and learn and get behind the wheel at 16 than they are at 17. At 17, it's like, whatever, dude. I kind of got this. You got nothing at that point. Just saying. So 16 to 19. Now, have you been 16 to 19 before? You have you? It's the second life. I said, have you been 16 to 19 before? Before? We'll come back and catch up. It's all right. All right, so if you haven't been... Are you in that zone now? Put your hand up. That's where you put your hand up. Josh. Good guy. There, right. He's with us. All right. He's 19? Yeah, just turned 19 that last week. Yeah, wasn't it? Your birthday. Saw the photos. So, between 16 and 19, you're a young person, and you figured, yeah, I've got this. I've worked out I don't want to do this anymore, but nobody is helping you transition from that 17, 18 and 19. I don't know about you, but my dad gave me some fantastic advice when he was around, He gave me some great advice. He said to me, just because you have sex with a girl doesn't mean you have to remain committed. Now, I can speak about my dad like that because he's dead, but and the reality was that caused conflict with him and I. I went, seriously, I'm 17 and a half years old. That's your best advice that you can give me right now, Like, I was going out with a slightly older person at that time, and that was the advice he could give me. Do what you got to do, and then move on. I said, it's not doing the laundry, bro. Just saying. So I took his advice and I left home because there was no good advice. That was not good advice because he wasn't helping me in any way transition from being a young adult man into being an adult man at that stage. And so I went to my mates. I figured they got to know. They're all my age, a couple of years older, and they'll give me some advice. What sort of advice did they give me?
Same as my dad.
Same as my dad. Yeah, I said, you've been talking to my old man. I'm sure you've been talking to my old man. And as I studied some of my friends' dads, I realised that they didn't know how to give information to them either about what it meant to put away these kind of behaviours and take on new behaviours to become a male, a man, a strong man. So, we fumble through 19. Right, and then we go 19 to 21. How many of you fit in that bracket? Cool. Last time I checked, you weren't there, man. Just saying. Oh, this is me. Hang on a second. No, hang on. There's another number in there somewhere. All right. So between 19 and 21, this is where you become. You had your 21st, and it was like, yeah, I've arrived. Yeah. I've been driving for 5 minutes, probably 2 years, maybe. Statistically, a lot of young people don't get their licence till they're around 20. When I was 18, man, I was busting at the chops to get my licence. I just wanted to go out and get my licence. But the reality is these days, because it takes a little bit longer, which is a good thing, is they want to help educate young people around driving. So that's not our point. The point is between 19 and 21, there's that moment where you are beginning to form who you think you're going to be as an adult person. That's when you start to face, university. Some of you still haven't figured it out at this point, or even cared about it at that point. But for others, it's like pressure to be something, choose something and do something right at that point in order to become a young adult, right? There's a lot of pressure. Now, most of the time you just nod and wave at your folks when they're saying something. Sure, that's what I'm doing. And it's that moment where you feel like, I don't know who I'm listening to. Who do we listen to at that point? Between 19 and 21, who do you listen to?
Your mates.
Your mates again. That quality group of individuals that have the experience, who have been there before, that know what they're saying to you, know how to actually give you that advice. How many of you have taken one of your mates' advice and it ended up bad? Okay, so for those of you, and all the hands at home too, for those of you who don't see the room right now, that was nearly the majority of the room right at that point. I know, but why do we keep going to our mates? Because they're awesome and they're so wise. They're so wise. And yet all the hands in the room were saying, loser information, right at that point. So the reality is that sometimes we are getting advice in these, and they do call them, in the adult world, thank you for the sneeze, they do call it critical decision points or turn points. These are critical points. How many of you know people who are in their 40s and older who still act like a lunatic? That doesn't include me, by the way, Oh, we got two hands, we've got legs and everything in the air here. We know a few people like that. And you think to yourself, that person just needs to grow up. Now, we're not talking about not having fun. It's good to be a fun person your entire life. It's good to be serious when you need to be serious. It's good to be fun when you need to have fun. It's good to know how to have fun and be healthy in that. But the reality is, as we get older, we're trying to figure out where are we going? What are we doing? Now, between 21 and 25, this is where two parts of your brain come together. At this point, we've talked about that before, remember? Emotional brain and logical brain. At that point, they merge. Well, we hope they merge. If they don't, we know doctors. So at that point, your brain begins to take over and logic begins to settle in and you go, nah, I don't think I want to do that anymore. So, when you were in someone's car and they did this almighty burnout in their car and they're going down the road, yeah, that was so cool. I went to this place, it's a town, it doesn't matter what the name is, I know what it is, so don't tell me the name of the town, all right, out loud, just because it's on live, all right? I went to this town and they happened to be doing this burnout comp. Oh, God. There were people in these cars driving down this straight of tar with their hands out the window and this wheels are spinning. It was so awesome. Susan was with me at that point and she's going, yeah! And I'm going, no! This is lunatic-y, man. This is like, get out of here. She's going, this is so freaking cool. I'm saying, you're a bogan. She goes, bah, 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 bah. I said, right, whatever. So, It didn't seem, but what I thought was really cool was some people were so smart, they actually had coloured wheels on, and so when they had their coloured tyres on, it actually gave coloured smoke. Now I thought that was cool, you know, because it was kind of, but it was still one of, anyway, moving on. Anyway, you wonder why when we move through our life, in all that we do, we kind of feel like at times that life is a bit like a tug of war. Now, I'm not talking about in a relationship, although that we'll talk about that in a few weeks' time. I'm just talking about when you get into life, it's like you can feel this kind of tug backwards and forwards between you and your brothers and sisters. There's this tug between you and your parents or carers. There's a tug between you and your friendships. You know, it's like, oh, you know, if I give this, will I get this in return? Have any of you felt like you just keep giving and giving and giving in your friendship circle and you never get anything in return? Be careful now. Now there's girls looking at one another going, "Oh, so give to you, bitch." You know, you're so, you know. What do you mean? Are you talking about me right now? You know. So the challenge is, for some of us, and in particular for males, this is one of those challenges where we can give of ourselves, and then we do this thing. And they go, "Oh, come around and help you." Nah, she's right. Why do we do that? She's right. I don't need your help. Or you do something and someone says to you, "Why didn't you ask me to come around and help you?" Nah, I got this.
Show of masculinity.
It's a what?
Show of masculinity.
Show of masculinity. I think we're confused, actually. I actually do think, as I study manhood and I look at my own masculinity, I think it was actually confused and there was a lot of gaps in it. And I see that with young women, I see it with older women, I see it with young men, I see it with older men. I look at that and I study things and I go, there's gaps here of what they think it means to be a man, what they think it means to be a woman. And over these next few weeks, we're going to help you get some clarity, offer some suggestions. It's not to try and make you into something that we want. It's just to provide you with some ideas or some knowledge that you feel like, man, that sits well. And we're going to be bringing in some people, some guests that are going to be actually speaking to you. They're going to be some of them are going to come in, they're going to sing to you. There's going to be some people who are going to come and share with you some of their experiences about what their type of womanliness is, what their type of manliness is. And I think they're pretty cool dudes and dudettes. So they'll be worth hanging on and looking at. But sometimes, how many of you go to the, I don't know if they still have them anymore, I think they're illegal, seesaws. You know what a seesaw is? Yeah. Do they still have one? Do they still have them anymore? I think they're illegal. They have those kind of funny animal things that you kind of seesaw on and almost kill yourself when you fall off and then it headbutts you. That's a nasty spring machine, those things. You know, have you ever been on a seesaw? Yeah? You love it?
Yep.
I love seesaws. I always wanted to be the dude that jumped off first though. But I always thought about it that split second too late, you know. Ended up with a sore posterior. So the challenge was, in the day you had this wooden plank over this steel rod and you just go, yeah, and it had a big steel bar there. So good. You know, it was so, environmentally friendly. It wouldn't hurt yourself on that at all. Many of our mates lost their teeth, as they came down and bit on the top of the steel bar. It was awesome because if you were the first one off, it wasn't going to be your teeth. So the challenge was, and that can be like life, is look at seesaws backwards and forwards like this, and you can feel like, when is it ever gonna, did you ever try and do that bit where, and it was hard because if I was slightly heavier, no comment, than others on the other side of the I don't know what you call the other side, maybe I was on the sea side and they were on the saw side, so so when I was on the sea and they were on the saw, I had to sort of scooch along a bit if they were thinner, and as they would as they would lean right back, I was trying to get the seesaw to just not. Have you ever done that on a seesaw?
Yeah.
You go, we can get this, and I'm 40 kilos heavier than that, I said put another couple of kids on that end, and so I'm seesaw, and I want them to saw and me to see, and I can't do anything, and so it ends up like this. And I'm lying there, sitting there, and you can't put your legs under you, you just got to put them straight out. So your rectum's right on the ground, and usually at the heavier end it's a big dip with a puddle of water in it, so it's awesome. Tell me you don't understand what I'm saying right now. Yeah, I can hear you. So, the challenge is, here's this issue that you've got, and that is just like our friendships. Just like our life. It can sometimes feel just like how we're going on inside ourselves. It can feel like, which, stop laughing at me. Yeah, sometimes we can feel like I don't know whether I'm a seer or a saw at times, and I'm trying to get the balance. I'm trying to get the balance in my life where I can figure out what's my emotions doing. You know, they're all this side, you know. And then 1 minute, you know, they're over here. The next minute, and I'm not talking just about girls, by the way. I have seen guys within a split second go, you know, in their life. And so the challenge right now is, how do we go into our life giving 100%? See, in our life, there is this moment where we feel like all of our friendships, relationships, whatever they are, whether they're family, whether they're friends, whatever, are a 50-50 mix. I'll come in 50%, you come in 50%. It's actually wrong. That's actually a wrong way of thinking. The challenge with giving 100 over 100 is that you could get hurt, is that you could be used. But see, when you go into a friendship, you sort of go in more than 50%. You know, when you get that new friend, I saw it happen here tonight when some of you saw one another because you haven't seen one another, or, you know, since like Friday, and you know, you're coming to go, oh my God, you know, and you're hugging, like, that was an all-in moment. And that was all the boys. Then the girls came in, you know, and they were hugging one another. Oh, yeah, so good. You know, that was kind of the girls, how the girls did it. But no, the reality for us is simply that you enter into a friendship, into a relationship, and you don't understand the ground rules, so you just kind of put your toe in the water. Yeah, I'll just sort of step in a little minute. How many of you are a 100% friend? Whoa. Right, those of you that are not 100%, make friends with those dudes that just put their hands up right now. You know, so the challenge is simply this. Fear and insecurity just stops us, blocks us. Now, as we look further into this series, you're going to be looking at relationships. We're going to be looking at all sorts of environments. We're going to be looking at, like these two cuddle buddies over here. You're so romantic. You know, they might not be doing it by the end of this series. Awkward. So the challenge is simply, it's in my pack, he's rad, you know. So the challenge for us simply, yeah, we're all looking at you. It's all good. So the challenge is quite simply, in your friendships, in your family, in your relationships, is it kind of seesaw, and are you waiting with fear that is that person going to step off and I'm going to hit the ground real hard in this moment? See, because in order for you to hit the ground, sometimes I nailed it. Sometimes my mate jumps off and I'm boom. Yeah. I'm so ready, dude. I was ready for them. I sussed them out. I knew they were going to jump ship. What we want to help you over the next few weeks is how to be okay with who you are. Be okay with who you are. So whoever jumps in and out of your life, you can still be okay. You can still be that kind of person that no matter what's happening emotionally in your life, no matter what's happening relationally in your life, you can still be okay. You can still be solid. Sometimes it feels like everything's one way. And we want to help you over these next couple of weeks understand some things about you. Things like, how do I act when I go into certain environments? We're going to talk about certain environments that freak you out. I always get these invitations to parties and things like that, and I'm looking for the what you wear bit, you know, what do you wear? And then I don't even know what the what you wear means, you know, when they say that thing down there, so we're going to help you understand what that means. We're going to ask you, you know that ad where they say what to bring when you're told not to bring a thing? We're going to talk to you a little bit about what to bring, you know. What does it look like culturally, what do you bring when you're invited in those environments? Because these things freak us out. It can be like simple things, but you go, oh, I know what to bring. I watched that video from Bridge Builders, I'll tell you, you know. Things like, how should I speak in certain environments? You know, is there a time to speak and is there a time not to speak? Is there a time to cuddle and a time not to cuddle? That would be now. You know, and so what I want you to do is these three things. As we're about to go into our pack, she stayed up with me. There's these three things I want you to do. There's just only three things you need to remember over this next kind of 6 weeks or so. Is take a breath. Good. Yeah, take a breath. Take some time. And then make some notes. What I want you to do is, you know, whenever I go to seminars and stuff like that, people used to say, oh, are you taking notes? The problem with taking note is that it never sinks in. whenever I go to a seminar, I listen, and when we talk to you over these next few weeks, make some notes. If you get your phone out and you make some notes in your notes section, make some notes for you that help you be okay with who you are and where you are if you're between 13 and 16, 16 to 19, 19 to 21, 21 to 25. Wherever you are in those transitional moments, let's make some notes that add value to you and hopefully help you navigate through those moments. I always say to my boys too, you need to be kind of looking at the next sort of 3 to 5 years, not just the next 6 months, because not a lot changes. It just seems like at that point in our life, right? So over the next 3 years, where are you going to be in the next 3 years? And for goodness sake, ask some older people for some advice at times. And we're going to introduce you to some, a couple in the room here tonight. And so, 3 things. Take a breath. Take some time. Make some notes about you. This is your journey about what it means to be a man. My modelling, and I'm happy to say it live, the modelling I had from my dad was the best that he could give, and it was lacking. It was lacking. I'm not dishonouring him in any way, but it was. And even in the conversations when he was alive, was the moments I used to say, Dad, that is like crap advice, dude. That's like no good, that's not helping me. That's like saying Coke's good for you. It's not a good idea. So what I want to do is help you, young men, young ladies, over this next series, just lean in. Take a breath, take some time, make some notes. We're going to go into our packs. Let's do it. Good night.